Wait, hi, how are you guys?
How are you?
I'm good, thank you. You guys look amazing. I love your outfits, look very cute.
This is Dwayne The Rock Johnson, the one and only.
Okay, perfect. I hope you have the bum bag as well.
I actually do.
Oh my god, please.
Oh, okay, commitment to the cause. I'm into it.
Print memo.
Yeah, that's true actually. I know. Oh my goodness, I can't remember the word. Unexpected coordination. There we go. How are you guys?
Probably
Very
37
good.
people got tickies. So
Yeah,
how's it work? Do you have you sent them all a Zoom link in there?
Well, this is the thing. I mean, I'm waiting for people to come. There's obviously a few people here, but we'll wait, I think, 5 minutes to properly start. I'll do my nice little introductory spiel, and then I will hand over to you two to do the full workshop.
Hello everyone. Hope you're having a fantastic Sunday. Grace is off today. Yeah, I've just been in bed, but we've had like 3 cups of tea within the past hour to just psych ourselves up.
Hyped up, yeah. I just had a coffee as well, so mine's behind here. I'm on good form as well. This is actually the first workshop that we've ever done, so I'm super excited.
That's one we've ever done. We've done a few like panels, but not like a proper workshop.
One-on-one workshop.
And for us as well. One for all the family.
Yeah, it's just like haven't been on Zoom. I mean, I have like weekly therapy on Zoom, but like something like this in so long, it feels like a bit of a far cry from like Zoom quizzes and stuff. But
yeah. Not quite as fun, to be honest, but not quite as fun, but maybe more useful. We'll see.
Yeah, we've made a snazzy little presentation as well. So
have you? Oh my goodness, so excited. Okay, yeah. You've stepped up the game. I'm giving one in a week or two, so I'm gonna be taking notes as well myself. I have made no presentation yet, so I feel I'm slacking.
What are you doing your presentation on?
Mine's on kind of audience reception and growth, and building a community, and kind of working on, I guess, developing a platform and using multimedia to kind of connect an audience and bring together people who will kind of support what you do, and just, I guess, talking about audience reception and the importance of, the audience and who your audience is, and like making sure that that's, that's something you've set upon.
Yeah, we should definitely go to that, because that's something we can all learn from each other here. Like we got the publishing side down, we think, maybe, but we'd like to learn more about like that.
I mean, I'm definitely no expert, but if you want tickets, links in my bio. So, but well, I mean, I think there's a few people here, so I guess I might start. I can start talking, and then people will come and join. I was super prompt. Obviously, I was like waiting at my computer with 2 minutes too. So I know.
So we're like, let's go.
For the last half an hour I've been in here, I was like, everyone get out the kitchen. I was waiting like so I know people might take a second or two to log on, but I guess I'll say a little bit about the series in general. So we're putting on 6 workshops actually, 3 now, and then 3 kind of towards more the end of October. And they're all from independent publishers from different zines, kind of giving their insight into kind of the industry and what they do, like you guys are obviously doing DIY publishing today. I guess is a way to kind of provide resources for young people, because our platform's all about like young people trying to enter the creative industries and kind of the problems they may face, and obviously a good way to tackle problems is to have resources to do so, and to kind of know a bit about the industry, what you're getting yourself into. And I thought that this kind of way, by providing workshops, it's a bit more interactive, and people can kind of gain that knowledge in a quick and kind of easy environment, and especially for free. There are too many, I mean there are some, but there aren't that many kind of like free resources people can go to and watch and kind of get insight from real people. So
sure. That's us. It's we are
real. real life humans on the Zoom call. Yeah. but yeah, that's it. And I mean, obviously you guys, I mean, I don't know if you want to introduce yourselves or if I'm going to introduce you, it's up to you.
Oh, you can introduce us if you want.
Yeah.
Like, I can give my little razzle dazzle, and then you guys can do the proper real human one. So obviously, this is Dani and Grace. They're the founders of the Femme Collective, and they're amazing. And they do lots of really cool stuff. Obviously, it's like a multi-platform project. It's not just zines. They DJ. You know, they do FemFest, which is also incredible and amazing. And if you don't know about it, you should check it out. It's really cool. So obviously, through the Femme Collective, they're kind of putting on loads of different events and programs and kind of doing lots of things to help increase gender equality in the music industry, and kind of looking at, you know, like gender relations inside their industry, and doing so in a way, you know, across lots of different platforms to reach lots of different people. So that's my bit. So you guys can.
Better than I think we've got.
Actually, can you write that down and we can then take that for emails to send?
Don't worry, I'll email it to you guys after. No problem.
Oh, you pretty much covered everything.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess we could kind of like talk a little bit about how we started.
Yeah.
If that's
Happy to start. So we started in 2017. We met in uni in 2016, and we saw that our university radio station wanted new hosts, and we were both like, yeah, we want to do that. And we were like, oh, but what should our show be about? And we're both, you know, passionate activists, women in the music industry, and like massive music fans, and on doing a journalism course. And we kind of, for a while, noticed that there was like a massive disparity between male and female and non-binary artists, where obviously men are given such a huge platform and women are often overlooked, or there's a huge amount of issues that affect women in the music industry. So we wanted to have our radio show to shine a light on these artists, women in non-binary musicians in the music industry, and also talk about the issues that affect them. But we had a weekly radio slot, and we felt that it was way too much to discuss in just 1 hour for a week. And we decided to make a zine.
Yeah. We pretty much, we were scratching the surface kind of with our radio show, and it was such a brilliant way to kind of get talking about these issues and highlighting like new music and new artists that we really loved. And it was so brilliant, I think, for us. Like, we just moved to London, and we were like, it was heady days, really. It really was. Start of uni, and we were like, okay, there's actually more to this. There's more that we can say on this. And we thought, okay, what we're doing, journalism, a zine, is like a natural progression for us. And we kind of just like learn on the job, I guess, so to speak. And started pretty much straight away.
Absolutely, yeah. And should we go into our
Okay, well then I guess I'll head off then. Okay, 1 second.
Sorry.
You kicked me off the screen. It's cool, it's fine. I guess I will leave you to your thing. Enjoy. I will see you on the other side. I'll come back for the kind of Q&A part, chat to you a bit, and then after, obviously, you guys are done speaking, people are very welcome to ask questions, either through the chat, or if everyone looks at the bottom, like here, there's a Q&A button, and if anyone watching wants to type a question there or raise their hand, you can either do it through text, or if you raise your hand on the little button, which is somewhere here, then you can speak. Depends if you prefer speaking or not. But I will now stop my video and mute myself and watch. Good luck, guys. Bye.
Thank you.
Izzy.
Thanks so much.
Oh, thanks so much, Izzy. So as we kind of briefly mentioned with Femme Collective, we were based in London and Brighton, but now back in London. And I guess
London.
on the internet as well, is where we mainly are. Most people are the old pandemic. So as we mentioned, we started on radio and we started a zine. And we chose to do a zine published by ourselves, completely independently in DIY. As writers, we kind of recognised that there was quite a lot of, I guess, censorship with grassroots issues, because that's not where the money is. Unfortunately, people just want to like provide a platform to like cis het white guys, because that's literally where I guess most of the money is, and it's easier for them. They don't want to talk about things that are seen as like dirty or problematic or causing drama. So we kind of saw that firsthand from learning about it on a journalism course and from both of our careers as freelance writers as well. So we chose the platform of a zine because it meant that we could just write what we wanted, when we wanted, and we could interview who we wanted to, and work with the artists that we liked and wanted to provide a platform to.
Yeah, it was really brilliant to start working on a zine because of that. Having complete autonomy over content is something that actually you don't get with mainstream media at all.
No.
And like you said, like, it was just a really brilliant way to kind of put across an issue that could be seen in I don't think it's controversial at all, but could in the mainstream be seen as controversial, problematic, or like a little bit of a grey area.
Yeah, absolutely. And we are completely independent for that reason as well. I know most mainstream magazines get their funding from advertisements, but the problem with getting advertisements is it means that you're somehow tied to some type of corporation in some way, most of which are very unethical. So we wanted to just do it completely off our own backs, and like you said, just be completely autonomous as well. Should we go into how we got started as well?
We've spoken briefly about it, Ari, starting with the radio show, but I guess like the nitty gritty, getting down to it, we just had like a big Femme meeting, didn't we?
Yeah.
And we were like, we're doing this at the pub, where all the best ideas actually happen, I think.
Yeah.
At the pub, all my genius ideas come from the pub.
Yeah.
And we sat down with a pint and we were like, okay, how are we going to do this? And we honestly had absolutely no idea. We didn't really know anyone in the industry, other than the only thing we knew is that we had journalism skills as a basis, and we were learning, as we went. But we kind of, what did we do? We just wrote a list of things we wanted to include, or artists' initial ideas, did we?
We really just winged it. We've got a presentation that's going to talk about kind of step by step about our process, but we're just going to talk about sorry, I haven't done one of these before. We're going to talk about this. Yeah, we just winged it, and I think we had the idea and we just kind of went with it. And I think we had so many ideas at the start because no one was really doing what we did. We loved zines and we supported zines, but I guess throughout teenage years, and that's what led us to wanting to do a zine. So we kind of had an idea of like the format of them and what people included them, but we kind of just like scoured artists that we liked and then just hit them up and was like, we'd like to interview you, like we feel like this is quite an important cause and we'd like to talk to you about this. So we did that, but like we said, we didn't really have much experience in publishing or the actual printing side of it and the actual logistics of it, so we winged it.
We did wing it. And I think that's probably one of the most important things, is that with DIY publishing, if you have an idea, you should run with it, because like a lack of knowledge or a seeming lack of ability to do something, like, you'll learn on the job.
Yeah.
We're going to cover this a bit more further on in our lovely PowerPoint. But we definitely have made mistakes, especially in producing those earlier issues. And yeah, you learn from the mistakes. Like, we look back at our first issue now, don't we, compared with our most recent issue, and we're like, oh my gosh, what a journey we've been on, both like together.
Many late nights, many cups of tea, a lot of crying.
Blood, sweat and literal tears.
Yeah. But like we learned on the go. With our first issue, it was pretty catastrophic. Like, anything that could have gone wrong did go wrong. So for starters, like, we're writers, we don't have any ability in graphic design or any of that. I don't even know the words because we don't.
I think graphic design
is my passion.
Yeah.
So I remember I put up an Instagram story. I was like trying to make a zine on Word, which you can do. But one of our friends who also has a magazine was like, please don't do this. I will give you InDesign tutorials. Just please don't do this.
Get off Word now, girls.
I mean, if you try hard enough, you can literally do anything. But many hours were spent watching InDesign tutorials of how to actually put a magazine together. So we learned that way. But a mistake that was made, I think I don't even know where we went wrong, but we got some initial zines printed and it was all pixelated. I think it's because we uploaded JPEGs, individual JPEGs, rather than an entire PDF file. which we learned that was actually quite important. And we didn't have a 3mm bleed, which we'll go into as we get into the PowerPoint about the logistics of actually putting it together. But we got our zines, and they were pixelated. You couldn't read any of them. We obviously couldn't sell any of them, and our launch party was coming up. So we had to we fixed the problem, we rectified the problem. So we ordered like 50 more to have at the launch. But they obviously didn't arrive on time. So I remember I was waiting at the pub, and waiting with my mum. You were already on the way to the venue.
I had to go, I was venue side. You were very much waiting for DPD.
Yeah, waiting for DPD. Eventually went to the Offie where they said that they delivered it, and they weren't there. They'd gone all the way back to the warehouse. So we had to have our first ever launch party without any actual zines. Well, we had them, they're pixelated, so we stapled them shut so people could just look at them but not read them.
Like, whatever you do, don't open the stapled zines. And everyone's thinking, I thought this was like the launch party for a zine. And it's always like we were like pretending.
Yeah.
Like we'd actually just done the cover and there was no content.
Yeah.
Love it.
We had to think on our feet. We had no other option, really, because we'd planned this party. People were coming, bands were playing. We couldn't just cancel it. Although I think the night before we were in our uni library until about it was 24-hour library, so we were there until like 2-3 a.m. figuring out anything somehow. How could we get these zines printed within the space of a day? So Grace had found this like really.
I'd googled late night printers.
Yeah.
Next day delivery London.
Grace found this website that was written in Comic Sans, and they were asking for a ridiculous rate. That's another thing we'll get into is pricing, because a lot of places will try and mug you off, and there is kind of I think guideline of what we would say is acceptable pricing to print, like how a zine to however many pages that we print as well. Yeah. But we had to learn that. I think they wanted something like £200 for 50 copies, which was not good, but we were desperate. It was desperate times.
We were willing to spend the last of our student loan.
yeah, and I was like, no, we can't do that. We literally just got it because we can't do that. So yeah, that's a nice little anecdote to kind of introduce ourselves, the mistakes that we've made, because it always just a learning process with DIY publishing, especially with DIY publishing, but with any type of press, it's a learning process. That being said, I would like to go into the presentation. Just me.
Dani's just getting into it. I also, PowerPoint's making me feel like I'm in like year 8 IT again, and I'm actually mad for it.
Although, Izzy, I will need you to enable screen sharing, please. It says host has disabled attendee screen sharing.
Oh, 1 second. Hi, everyone. 1 second. let me come back in and sort out some technical stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. By the way, you guys are doing really well. It's really good.
Thank you. Thanks.
Such a proud mom. Like, oh my god. Okay. I'm gonna just make you the host. I'm gonna give you all the power.
Are you sure you want to do that?
Yeah, I know. Okay, I'm changing. Wow. Okay, you guys are the host now. Enjoy the power. You should. Can you share the screen now?
Yes.
Okay.
Fabulous.
Incredible. Okay. Enjoy the power. Don't abuse it. I'm logging out again. Bye.
So this is my screen. I'm going to show you our lovely little PowerPoint.
Little spoiler
for you. Right, I forgot how to use PowerPoint.
You go. Start. There we go. Oh yes.
Here we go. So you want to get into DIY publishing? I assume so. That's why you're all here. We just wanted to talk about the history of zines. Obviously, you can publish different bodies of work. You could probably publish your own book if needs be, or book like bits of poetry. But we do zines, so that's where our kind of area of expertise is. Zines were popularized in the mid 20th century and came out of the amateur press movement, which aimed to self-publish different types of art, writing, and imagery. There were a lot of fanzines around that time. Obviously, like the Neek in me loves that there were so many Star Trek fanzines, but that was like 1930s, 1940s, but towards like the 1970s, there was a lot of like punk fanzines, especially dedicated towards like the riot girl movement that was happening. It was like 90s, right, in America. So really good platform for like having or just showing different bodies of work and different types of work. Historically, it's been seen as the rebel press because it's completely independently published, which provides a platform to voices on the margins that are otherwise snubbed by mainstream media.
Yeah, this is our, do you know what, this is the go-to, what you'll need. And it's we joke that this PowerPoint's slightly live, laugh, love, but we're going to go into some more details. But that's also kind of an energy that we bring through. Live, laugh, love, honestly. So yeah, obviously you need a really strong idea and concept. With ours, I think it's probably quite niche as a concept in terms of like a wider, dedicating something wholly to that. But there are zines on like a particular kind of plant, or there's scope for it to be about anything.
Yeah, there's so many different types of zines, which is what I kind of find the beauty of that being like a kind of medium or like a print medium, because there's just, you can talk about whatever you want. And if like, say you wanted to talk about, I don't know, the Star Wars original trilogy and really deep dive into it, you could do a zine on that. You could do a zine on your favorite types of wines, which goes into the next bullet point, which is having a passion for it, which again sounds very live, laugh, love. I've got to have a passion for it, but it's very easy to start something and kind of just be like, oh, okay, well, I don't know, but it's very easy to kind of lose yourself in the process as well. But if you're passionate about it, then it will come through.
Yeah, also on that, I wanted to add that there will be times when it won't always be fun. So having a passion and like remembering why you're doing it is really, really important. There are times where you're going to want to quit and cry when things don't go right. So yeah, it is really fundamental that when you start something, you're really keen on it. There were definitely times when we were like, oh my god, like feeling completely soul destroyed, but it was then like our mission and our passion that definitely kept us going through that.
Absolutely. Funding is a massive thing as well that you need, because if you have access to printers, you still need, money to print, money for ink. We print with a third-party printer, which then we'll get into later, which costs money, but we'll go into how you can get funding as well, and some type of digital software. Some people do make zines via just like scanners and stuff, and like handwritten, which is kind of what the original fanzines were, but in our case we do use digital software which you can use for Word or Adobe InDesign. So as we said, the start of an idea. The beauty of zines is that you can make a zine on just about anything and deep dive into your ideas' wider culture. We kind of learned this in like our first week of our journalism course, which I think is also, it translates well to zines and DIY publishing. What, who, why, and how. What's your idea? Who are you going to speak to? What are you going to speak about? Why are you talking to them and working with them? And how are you going to tell them their/its story? So say you wanted to do a zine about, I don't know, plant culture. Who are you going to talk to? You could talk to some experts in plants, or you could talk to your neighbour who's really into gardening. You could take some pictures of them. What are you going to speak about? Maybe issues associated with plant culture. This is just like just spitballing here. Why are you talking to them? Maybe because people don't talk about plants enough. Why are you working with them, and how are you going to tell the story, which it could be through art, different types of content, writing, etc.
Yeah.
Anything you want to add?
No, that's perfect with me. Covered it.
Nice. Now you got your idea, let's put it together.
Yes. So obviously one of the main things about making something that is marketable is having a name, a logo, and branding. Although sometimes it's not the most important part, it's definitely, if you want to sell your zine, it's definitely really crucial. So we came up, we knew we were going to be called the Femme Collective because that's what our radio show was called. And with our branding, our very first logo, we're actually in the process of rebranding. We just incorporated that. It was femme, it was pink, very very early days, wasn't it, for us?
Yeah, we are getting a new logo now that being said, because our original logo has a Venus symbol in it, as I think we both explored our own sexuality, and for me exploring my gender, I'm like, and even just being entirely inclusive as well, we need to ditch the Venus symbol. So it's in the works. But in terms of us getting our logo and stuff, we just hit up graphic designers that we liked on social media, or even put calls out. Originally I was, because we're looking for a 3D animator, I said we're looking for a 3D animator for our logo, and people get in touch, or you can just message them. And just ask like what their fee is, or there's a lot of students and other creatives that want to collaborate with zines. So
that's, yeah, if somebody, I would say in terms of like collaboration in any aspect, whether it's the logo or, you know, a photographer you want to work with, if people are passionate about your project, there's a chance that they're going to want to collaborate with you. And it's sometimes just a case of shooting your shot and asking.
Absolutely. And if it's like your zine's about like a political issue, it's worth, you know, hitting up people in the field who have like that skill set that may be passionate about what you're saying, or if it's common interest as well. Social media is a really good tool for that. Which then leads on to the next one, which is content. What is going to be in your published work? For us, it's art, poetry, writing, illustration, photography, and we do that again just by finding photographers and artists and putting calls out online, because we both follow and are into a lot of different types of illustrators and photographers and have them as mates as well. And we've just worked with them to kind of create this body of work.
For sure, yeah. And ours, we kind of knew that alongside imagery, ours was going to be fairly text focused, just because of where our skill set lies. We knew that there was going to be a lot of think pieces, and alongside the editorial shoots there was going to be really quite in-depth interviews that were spanning like 4 pages. We kind of knew that was going to be the landscape of what our zine was going to look like, because writing is where we have our expertise. So definitely play to your strengths. Like if you're a photographer and you want to do a zine, obviously it would make sense that it's image based.
Yeah, absolutely. And design. So yeah, as we said, graphic design is our passion, but there were many nights spent trying to figure out InDesign, because at the time, if you're a student, we got it for free. Did we?
I think we paid.
We got a student subscription, which is half price. I think it was like £10 to £15 a month, which obviously isn't great. But little birdie, I'm not saying anything, but little birdie told me you can pirate it. So
I would actually say if you can, you should.
Yeah.
In the nature of the rebel press.
Yeah.
If you can get it for free, you should.
Not saying anything.
Not saying anything.
Not incriminating ourselves.
Not promoting anything bad at all here.
Okay. I mean, fuck it. And yeah, a lot of different zines have different styles of design. For ours, we've wanted it to be quite clear, but also like pay homage somewhat to like the original fanzine. So our first issues were like scrapbooked and scanned, although we don't have access to that anymore, so it's completely digital now. But as we have kind of progressed, our style and design has changed as well. So don't be totally focused on just being like, oh right, I need to have like my branding and my design in place, because that can change with time as well. Yeah, and as long as you have the idea, and maybe even if you don't have the skill set to design it, we built a team as we have gone over the years, and have brought people on board to help us design it as well.
And there's no shame in that. I think maybe in like earlier issues we were very, we're doing this, me and Dani are doing this, we are the Femme Collective. But actually, as things progress, like collaboration is so important. If someone can use InDesign and make something look sick, you should use them, because at the end of the day you're going to get a better product, and it's going to look amazing.
Absolutely.
And there's no shame in that. Absolutely, yes.
So this is our early mock-ups.
Very early days here. Heady days.
Yeah, so as you can see on the left, where's our first issue actually looks much different to that. That was just literally logo, image, and a border, which we kind of did, but we've like kind of jazzed it up a bit as well. And this is on the right hand side what InDesign looks like and how we kind of tried to design that. If you go on InDesign and you want to create a zine, you should set your portrait orientation to A5, and I think it's been a while since I've done this. Make sure there's a 3mm bleed as well for printing, and just literally drag and drop what you want and insert text boxes. That's pretty basic level InDesign, but we still had to learn.
Yeah, sure.
And printing. You can print zines yourself if you have facilities. All you really need is printers, inks, and staplers. But we tried, and we struggled, and we obviously don't have access to a printer now. So we use Mixam now, which we'll show a little bit later. But they just seems like the best printer, UK-based printer, in terms of quality and in terms of price. For about a 50-page booklet, we pay, I think, £3 or like £2.50 per issue, and then like we sell them for a £5, so we can make back our profits, and then have money for the next issue as well.
Yeah, all of the money that we make goes into the new issue or goes into costs making the issue. So essentially, the trajectory of where we would love to be able to pay everyone, but that's not really viable with independent press. In a dream world, we'd be able to pay photographers, graphic designers, all of this. But it's definitely somewhere, if we do put in money to sometimes pay photographers if we can, and that's where the money from the zines go. It doesn't go into our own pocket. It's all like into the next issue, which I think is really important if you want to build on, and especially if you want to do if you want your zine to have longevity, I think it's really important to like invest back into it.
Absolutely. There's other printers as well, XYZ and Doxu, that I think are a little bit more spenny, but we use Mixam just for price. Printing logistics. So this is from our first issue where we uploaded the InDesign file to Mixam, and it automatically just puts it in a kind of zine format. And it was 40 sides, including front cover, 44 sides, including front cover and back cover. We chose paper size A5. We chose it to be in portrait, but you can have it as square or you can have it as landscape as well. 150 GSM. I think we've actually gone down to 130.
Oof.
I think that was she's skinny. it was a bit too thick for our liking. And we've had coloured printing throughout, and our cover we had just staple bound, but you can get it as wire bound or you can get it as hardback, which is square. That we just staples actually the cheapest as well, full disclosure, but we just kind of prefer that because it's kind of like true to the original style of fanzines.
For sure.
So this is our first issue. However, as you can see, it says your files have raised some warnings. Obviously, we chose to ignore that, and then got them all.
Your files raised warnings.
Got them all pixelated. Funding. This is probably the most crucial part, and something I don't actually think people talk about enough, about how people actually get their money to publish. Because if you're doing it by yourself, most of the time it's out of your own pocket, unless like, I don't know, mummy and daddy can pay for it, or you've got some investor, or you've got advertisements.
Which we didn't have.
Yeah, we have none of those things. So yeah, notoriously it costs a lot of money to print magazines and sold in many press outlets in recent years. There's ways to fundraise. We set up a GoFundMe. And we kind of just like got our like friends, family, people on the internet to share it, basically said why we wanted to do it. And we had a suggested donation of £5, which doubled up as the pre-order. And I know some publications only do exclusively pre-order because it means that they can afford to print it and there's no like wastage or anything like that as well in terms of paper being wasted. Bricks do that.
Yeah, they do.
And we also do a pre-order option, which does help with the cost of printing. We advertise it about, I think, a week or two before we go to print. And sometimes it makes enough money to print however much we want to run. But sometimes it doesn't. But we do have that money saved from, previous issues and stuff like that.
We've sold out of every zine now, haven't we? Like every issue that we've printed, we've sold out of, which is actually really fun.
Yeah,
it's got a fun feeling. Do you know what? That's a really good feeling when you've sold out of all your zines. You're like, oh.
Yeah. And we put crowdfunding in events. Events were really crucial to us when we got started, but it's a bit difficult to do that now. But we're going to go into stuff about zine fairs and virtual zine fairs as well. Promotion.
even though it's DIY, it's still important. Like, you know, if you're trying to get a message across, or, you know, want to platform someone else's work, like, you know, promotion is so important. So social media, network, it feels like corporate language, but like it's just as easy as like following zines that like on your zines page or your like published body of works page, and just like interacting with them, and just like sharing the work on there. First we use Instagram because that's, I guess, like the most accessible platform, but you know, there's Twitter and other social media sites that you can promote your work on as well. Zine fairs, we love Girl Zine Fair. If you don't know them, it's run by Lou Williams. They're amazing. They have been doing Girl Zine Fair for ages, and they used to do real life zine fairs, where a bunch of other zine makers could come and sell their zines, and you can just chat to each other and get to know each other, because it really is such a lovely, wholesome community. Some of the nicest people we've met has been through zines.
Yeah, 100%. And like now people that are like really good friends of ours, meeting them through zines, which is really, it's a great atmosphere. A zine fair is the most wholesome, probably the most wholesome thing you could do. Yeah,
it's so lovely. And don't be afraid to ask for help and support. I know it can be quite daunting and quite scary, just messaging someone to like, oh my god, what if they think I'm a weirdo, what if they think I'm a freak, what if they don't reply? But you know, that is, and to put it in perspective, that is the worst thing that can happen. They could not reply or just say no. And there's like no harm in asking, really. And most of the time people are really up for helping young creatives that are just starting up. So like, that being said, if you need any help with anything in particular outside of the session, feel free to message us on Instagram. We're Femme Collective.
With 3 L's.
With 3 L's. I can't change that yet. Cool. Everyone makes mistakes.
Everybody has those.
Sorry, this was like us 2 cups of tea in. I was like, oh my god, I wrote this down. I was like, should we put this cursed picture of Miley Cyrus?
We should.
Hopefully everyone gets the reference. Everyone does make mistakes. It's okay to fuck up, and we did a lot. As we mentioned with the infamous 2 a.m. library, Comic Sans, Prince saga. We did fuck up, but we just had to run with it. And it could have been easy to give up, but we didn't. We stapled the zine shuts, we did the goddamn event, and we just went from there, and we had to think on our feet. So we basically just like got a piece of paper and said like, you can pre-order here. We didn't let anyone know that anything was wrong, I don't think.
No.
We said, oh, like the zines are coming, but you can pre-order them at the event. So people like wrote down their names, and I think we contacted them and said like, oh, this is how you can pay for it. And making mistakes is all part of the process. We've learned so much from everything that we've messed up.
For sure.
Doing. And
also, if you make a mistake, if you make like an actual big mistake, you just won't make it again, because it costs time and money and effort and energy. So like, making one big mistake will just save you probably making like a few in the future.
Absolutely. Closing notes. Shoot your shot. The worst someone can say is no. Which it is very daunting. But if there's a photographer you want to work with, or like you like someone's illustrations and you want them to be in your body of work, or if you want someone to write for you, just like message them exactly what it is that you would like from them, and see if they're up for it. And most people are. Most people want to, help each other out. And the work that I've done for other zines and stuff, like it's kind of like you scratch my back, I scratch yours. Like I did 2 pieces of writing for my friend's zine called Hot Blush, and Sasha, who runs it, so that she's going to do some like font writing for us as well. So it's, I help her out with the writing side, she helps me out with like the kind of creative side as well, because we can't.
Creative currency is so important. Like exchanging skills is so valuable. And you can learn so much from other people. Like definitely don't be afraid to ask, and there's definitely no like shame in asking for help and exchanging skills. Important.
Absolutely.
Crucial, actually.
Don't be afraid to work on your own deadlines and rearrange them around your personal life work. So for us, Femme is like massively a passion project. We don't have the money and it doesn't make us any money for us to be our sole job. So, we're both freelance. We do writing and other various bits and bobs as well. And our next issue has taken close to 2 years, because Grace graduated uni and I was working a full-time job, and so much was just in the way in personal life and things like that, and there's no need to just add another stress there. Like it's coming when it's coming, you know. Like, and people will still care about you, and people will still be there, especially if it's a cause that they believe in. No one's going to think, oh my gosh, they haven't done anything for ages.
There's that, I feel like there's such a pressure to kind of feel relevant constantly, but like you say, as long as you're doing something worthwhile and you kind of, I don't know, stay up to date on social media, like you are still relevant, your mission is still relevant. We shouldn't be so hard on ourselves, especially, you know, during COVID times, especially. Be kind to yourself.
This is where we get a bit live, laugh, lovey. Appreciate the journey. We've had like some of our funnest moments have been doing femme stuff, and obviously we really bonded as friends doing femme stuff, and even something as, you know, things will happen, things will go wrong. This isn't relevant to DIY publishing, but we went to Green Man as press, because that's another way that we kind of wanted to get our message across and speak to other people. We went to Green Man to interview female non-binary musicians that were playing the festival, and on the first night we got there, we took the tent out and realised we didn't have any tent poles at like 10 p.m. at night.
Whose fault was that, Dan Run? Hey?
Yeah, it was mine. So yeah, appreciate the journey. It's a story to tell.
It's not about the goal, it's about the journey.
And yeah, you will mess up, you know, no one's perfect. And something I wanted to mention is like not putting so much like pressure on perfectionism. And I think like a huge part of like the beauty of DIY culture is that it's messy, and that it's like completely different to like all of these perfect polished, you know, magazines that we see on the newsstands. Like rough is good, mess is good.
Rough and ready.
Rough and ready.
That's how I'd probably describe us.
Yeah.
Rough and ready.
Rough and ready.
Cool. Yeah, thank you. Do you have any questions?
We have got some questions. How do I get out of this?
I think you just go...
Sorry.
No, not stop video.
Hey guys, I'm coming back in. Hello. Hi.
Help us. Help us, Amy.
Well, I would say if you want my advice, go to the little go to the corner. If you want to look at questions,
we're here.
Down here, yeah. If anyone else has any other questions or anything they want to ask, either like about the presentation or about the Femme Collective, like what they do, you can pop them down there. There's one already, but if anyone else has any, feel free. But if you click on that icon, guys, the Zoom, then you will see the question, and then you can answer.
Yeah, we've got one question, but feel free to ask us more. Do we answer live? How do we do that? How exciting.
You would like to answer this question live.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
Sorry, it's your nan trying to use...
Hiya, it's your favourite nan.
So can you recommend us some of your favourite zines?
Yes.
Well, one of my favourite is Polyester. I love Polyester so much. I love everything that Ione writes, who's the editor of Polyester. I feel like they're super inclusive and write a lot about queer stuff, you know, both as queer people.
We are both raging queers, actually.
It's very important for us to read about. Obviously, Sick Love is great. I love Hot Blush. Peach Fuzz is great as well.
Sassy. Love Sassy.
Yeah.
Girlzine Fair. Girlzine.
Yeah.
The Zine.
Girlzine in print.
In print, yeah.
Femme. There's another Femme. It's just FEM. And
really cool.
Yeah, it's me.
Bricks is not a zine, is a magazine, but we love Bricks.
Yeah. Who else? There's so
many. I bet if we like, there's so many. There's so many to mention. Basically anything that's championing queer culture, inclusivity, mental health. Those are kind of the areas that we love and enjoy. Yeah.
I feel like we've definitely missed some out. There's just so many and Bisous to all of them. We love them so much.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
Have
we got any more questions? Come on.
How many zines do you print usually, and how many at a time? We print around 75 at a time, and in the past we have sold out of them, and we've ordered like 30 more, and then had spares, which we then bring to like zine fairs, or just try and sell online, or sell at the next launch as well. So normally when we print like 75, it costs about like £200 or so, and then I think another £10 for shipping. So it works like over £2 for each issue, and then normally about 50 sides. Yeah, so that's how many we print at a time. We start with like 75, and then we print 30 more. Ooh, more questions.
Oh, I can see them popping up. That's really fun. Hi, I love your work. What are your thoughts on trying to make a zine in the current situation? Do you think it's best for a new startup to do an online issue first or to go for the print?
Well,
that's interesting.
we're kind of having the same internal debate as well. Like, are we going to launch this with a... Oh, I got a bit excited there.
Do you know what? Notes everywhere.
Yeah.
Are
we going to launch it online, or are we going to launch it... are we going to wait until we can do it like IRL? But I think it's actually a really good time to start new projects. With, you know, a lot of us have quite a lot of spare time on our hands, and a lot of us are actively using social media quite a lot. So I think it's kind of a really good landscape to be launching something online when everyone can, it's kind of really visible right now.
Yeah, and it's also like a great time to try something and see if it works. Ari, like promoting your work online as well.
Yeah, and if you just release it online as well, like you don't really have to worry about funding. That's another thing, because you can kind of put it into booklet format on Issue. If it's already in one big PDF, and Issue is issu.com. It's like a free.
Should we type
platform.
it in?
Yeah.
Do a little. I'll type it in. Oh, very, very high tech. Just typing in Issue.
Yeah.
Issu.com. There you go.
Is that how it's spelled?
Yeah, it is.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can basically do that and upload it for free. Kind of test the waters a bit, see if anyone resonates with it, if anyone likes it, etc. Which, you know, like I said, the zine community is super lovely. So yeah, I would definitely encourage anyone to do that.
And also, I feel like you could obviously alternate quite well. Like if you started in print, it's probably quite easy to transition to online at the moment, and equally like online to print. There's definitely no right or wrong way to do it. I'd say either way.
Yeah,
go for it. Definitely get going.
They said that they love our work. Thanks, Charlotte.
Thank you.
Nice. Do you think the zine industry is growing and going through a renaissance, or does it pale in comparison to like the era of fanzines and Riot Girl zines?
It's obviously we weren't around in the late 80s, early 90s. Late 90s. But I think it's obviously going to be different. Like we've got access to technology and InDesign and things like that. Whereas obviously when it was like original Riot Girl punk zines, you were like flyering at gigs and you were like handing them out at like anti-fascist meetings, and it was very, very that. I'd like to think we've still got some of that essence within Femme, for sure. But
absolutely. And I think that there were so many zines at the time because it was much cheaper to print. And, you know, as I mentioned earlier, like there's quite a lot of magazines, even like, you know, with mainstream publishers like Vice or Condé Nast have folded, and even Q magazine has folded, which is like a massive music magazine, because print media has been dying for a really, really long time. But that's kind of the beauty of zines, I think, because it keeps it alive, not only in the actual print format, but there's a lot of room for like social media interaction as well. And when you can release it online, people can interact with it that way. And I think it's a really good format to keep it alive.
For sure. I agree with you.
Cool.
Any more questions? Or no open questions?
No, at the moment. Well, I just want to say thank you so much, guys. That was really good. I wanted to I thought it was really good, really informative. I mean, I literally agree with everything you said about, you know, like the mistakes and the printing. I even used the same printer as you. Like it was really good and really informative. And I wanted to say, and also about the note you made at the end about like, you know, looking after yourself. I just want to back that up as well, because I think it's super important, like especially in London and stuff, there's so much, you know, pressure to kind of like be doing a million things at once and be the best at those a million things, or kind of, like successful in them. And I think a really important thing about zines and DIY, I didn't say that right, DIY zines especially, is that, you know, it's not like monetary per se, it's more about, you know, kind of the creation and that kind of little booklet that you've made and means something to you, that is close to your heart, you know, which is obviously so different from a big glossy magazine, and to be honest, why I think it's the best part of the like publishing industry. You know, it's come from heart, and you know, most people are, you know, self-funded or fund, you know, that most people aren't, you know, don't have funding, and it's really a passion project, and those kind of those imperfections and those mistakes are what make passion projects so, you know, personal. So I thought that was great, and your PowerPoint was great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Someone's just asked what the website we shared
Oh,
was.
that was for if you want to upload a zine online, essentially.
So that you can then share it. It gives, you can embed it in a website, or it gives you a link that you can share on social media as well. And it's free, which is great.
It's free.
Yeah.
What more do you want?
Yeah, what more could you want?
Could you share it again? If you type in Issu, like ISSU, it should come up. Let's double check that. I could be chatting a load of shit there, but let's have a look. Issu.
It's two U's. It's two
oh
U's.
my god, it's me. I got it wrong. What am I like?
Sorry. Okay, cool.
Some issues.
So yeah, we got some issues here.
Got some issues.
Got many issues. Well, thanks so much for having us, Izzy. It was so
Thank you. And yeah, it's really cool that you're doing this. I think, like, you know, workshops in an online capacity are brilliant because they're obviously accessible and really important.
Well, as you're talking about kind of like print and online, I think there's ways that we can use the online space, you know, to the best we can, to the best of our ability, because it's been a weird kind of 6 months, and it's looking like it might be another weird 6 months. And I think that, you know, people need to take time for themselves and reflect, but if people are up for it, or, you know, kind of want to experiment with new things and push themselves, there are lots of ways, like seminars and kind of, you know, things like this, when everyone's kind of inside and bored and the pubs close at 10 p.m. and it's a bit peak, but you can, you know, kind of like, you know, work around that, and I guess, you know, help people through the time. So I thought it would be a good idea, and that was as good as the first one could ever go. It was amazing. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Angel.
Thanks so much.
Yes.
Actually, because you're the host, you have to end now, I think.
Oh my goodness.
You have the power to end the meeting. So
you gave us that power. Goodness
I know.
me.
I know.
Everyone that joined in as well. I hope that it was.
Guys.
Hope that it was informative, and yeah, like we said, don't be afraid to hit us up on Instagram. Femme Collective, or both our personals are in there as well. You can feel free to give us a little texty text.
Yeah,
texty text.
Sexy
text.
Sexy text.
All right, thanks so much, guys. Bye.
Bye guys. Bye. Thank you.
Bye.